If at first you don't succeed, quit. That apparently is the Obama administration philosophy when it comes to training Syrian rebels. The president is abandoning a $500 million program that produced only a handful of fighters. This comes as Russia continues to expand its military role in Syria. Correspondent Doug McKelway reports tonight from the Pentagon.
More than 3 weeks after CENTCOM's General Lloyd Austin made the embarrassing admission that only 4 or 5 U.S.-backed Syrian rebels remained in the fight after spending 10% of a $500 million U.S. investment, the administration today pulled the plug on the Army's training program.
I wasn't satisfied with the early efforts in that regard, and so we're looking at different ways to achieve basically the same kind of strategic objective.
A new program to take its place will, quote, provide equipment packages and weapons to a select group of vetted leaders and their units.
What they're going to focus on now are efforts that have proven effective in the past.
Critics see it as another sign of administration indecision. That, as Russian forces escalate their Syria presence. While the U.S. launched only 2 air attacks in the last 24 hours, Russia conducted 67 sorties and hit 60 targets, often bombing the very rebels the U.S. is backing.
And it's unconscionable that we will not do anything to protect them. What we should do is we should have created that airfield right away. We should set up free zones for the moderates, but also for their families, for their communities, for the refugees, and they would become no-bomb zones.
In his last press conference, President Obama defended his cautious approach.
When I hear people offering up half-baked ideas as if they are solutions, or trying to downplay the challenges involved in the situation, what I'd like to see people ask is specifically, precisely, what exactly would you do?
But in a Washington Post op-ed today, former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice and former Defense Secretary Bob Gates piled on with more criticism. Quote, no-fly zones and safe harbors for populations are not half-baked ideas. They worked before and warrant serious consideration. Citing the U.S. failed involvement in another civil war, Vietnam, one frequent administration critic agrees with the president that Putin's gambit is risky.
The last thing you want to be is a third-party player in a civil war.
But in another sign of weakness that goes far beyond Syria, the U.S. announced today that it is withdrawing Patriot missiles from Turkey. And with the carrier USS Roosevelt pulling out of the Persian Gulf this month, the U.S. will have no carriers in the Gulf for most of this fall. That's the first time that has happened in years. Chris?
More on this with the panel. Doug, thank you.